Are we
So,
online?
yes.
Shahina, could you please have a look? Yeah,
Yeah.
we are live on Facebook. We can start recording.
Okay. Hi, Doreen.
Hello, Anu.
Yeah, it's such an honor to have you with us today again. And this is the second time that you're going to be speaking on this forum. Doreen is someone who's very dear to me. She like my bacha man.
Are we
So,
online?
yes.
Shahina, could you please have a look?
God.
Yeah, we are live on Facebook. We can start recording.
Hi, Doreen.
Hello. Hello.
So that's again the Facebook and everything going together. Okay. So Doreen is my bacha actually, and Amy is I'm her grandmom. So that kid came into this world right in front of me. She's a miracle in my life. And I think with Doreen and with Amy, I'll have this going till the last day of my life. They are such beautiful souls. And I'm so honored to have them in my life. Not everybody gets, हर किसी को नहीं मिलता प्यार जिंदगी में. But I'm very lucky that I have grandchildren in this world. I have children in this world. So it's been a journey with her. Last few years, we haven't been meeting each other again. And right now, because of coronavirus, I really haven't seen her. But blessing to Zoom connection that I can at least hear her and see her today. So thank you, Doreen, for being there. Please go ahead and do and weave your magic. Thank you.
Thank you, Anu, for having me again here. And before I start the topic, I would like to thank Anu as a teacher that she has been in my life, a mentor she has been, and all her mentors for being her mentors, because it all just gets passed down. So today I'm going to be talking about anxiety. I have, personally experienced anxiety. And earlier on, before I could start doing this talk, I told Anu that I will make a PPT. I sat down to make the PPT and I realized that it was just getting way too professional and it did not have too much of a personal touch. And because I'm such a feel-based person, I was like, chuck the PPT, I'm just going to be myself and I'm just going to deliver this the way it is. So honestly, what I have written is something that may or may not add up to what people say, and that's absolutely fine, because this is my journey with my anxiety. This is what I have learned through my anxiety, and this is exactly what I will be sharing with you. So to begin with, anxiety to me is my brain's response to deal with a stressful situation. A stressful situation makes me go into a loop of thoughts and action till the stress is resolved. Anxiety is also a fear that manifests itself through thoughts and actions. Not everything done in anxiety is stupid. Sometimes it gives you the push you need to focus more and get better results. There is nothing wrong with being a little over prepared for situations. So, for example, if it's a big day tomorrow at the office, or if it's an important meeting somewhere, it is absolutely natural to get anxious. But there is something called as supporting and something called as restraining. So as long as that little bit of anxiety is making you work a little harder, giving you that push to do extra little research, being a little over prepared is absolutely fine. Anxiety does become challenging when it becomes a restraining emotion, when it becomes something that makes you avoid a situation. For example, planning a vacation and then not getting onto that airplane because you're so anxious as to how it's going to happen. And there is also a difference between anxiety and paranoia that I would like to talk about. Paranoia is when, yes, you do have a lot of thoughts. The thoughts are at the lightning speed. It does make you feel anxious. It gives you jitters. It can give you physical symptoms. However, with paranoia, the thing is, it would be unrealistic things as well. Like, for example, a person can talk about UFO invasion. A person can talk about nuclear holocaust. The person can talk about things that does not even make sense. uh, and that also is usually related to some other psychological disorders playing up. However, with anxiety, what I feel is that it always has something in the past that has happened, some traumatic event from the past that has still left some footprints behind. You're still hanging on to it, you've still not resolved it. So it just, you constantly go back to that as a reference point, whether knowingly or unknowingly. You do go back and say, oh, it has happened before to me, I do not want this to happen again. So I will read on a little more. But there are times when situations do not have an obvious solution. Some situations we call problems aren't problems either, they are experiences. At age 3.5, I had feelings so deep and my levels of anxiety were so intense that I had already started self-harming. I had issues sleeping. I used to bite my lower lip so hard every night that it would bleed. I would keep injuring the same bitten lip every night over and over again. It used to almost become like ulcers the next day. It used to be quite painful. I used to also later on make up stories about it. But honestly, it was me self harming, and nobody really noticed it because it was on the inner side of my lips. So obviously, no one is going to see, what is happening over there. And I had not learned it from anyone because I don't remember anyone in my family who would self harm. So there was not something that I visually saw and I was enacting. It is just something that was, that was very natural to me to do that. And it was only because I used to go through a little bit of a separation anxiety every night, because I would want to latch on to my mom. I wanted her to sleep with me, I wanted her to be able to hold me, and I wanted to hold her. And every time that was not happening, I would just get so anxious, and then the anxiety would just get the worst out of me. It would make me do this lip biting thing. And trust me, it was very recently that I got to know that some of my habits actually come out of anxiety. So I will lead on further. I have hardened scars in my lower lips. Basically, it's like, some part of the lips there have actually got, um, like, how you get scars on your skin when you fall. I have scars on the lower lip. That's because of like years and years of biting on it. I'm also sharing this because I want people to know that even a child of 3 is capable of such brutal self harm, and it can go unnoticed by parents. These habits just, form. It's like I said earlier, it's not something that I saw others doing, or I saw, anyone harming themselves in front of my eyes. I just did it because it just made me feel a lot calmer. It would just probably put me to sleep, maybe, because I would just keep on sucking onto that blood like the whole night. It sounds gross, but yeah, that's how it was. I have felt at so many levels that anxiety increases with every traumatic and stressful event. Even if an event, like if the first event caused a level of anxiety, for say example, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, if someone's felt a level of 5 anxiety after the first event, even though if the stressful event has gone, there are a little bit of footprints that still stay back, and that's because of the fear and that extra cautiousness that you have, that, oh, I will never let this happen to me again. The second time you have a stressful event, the anxiety again builds up. The past anxiety, which is still there, it now gets one more addition of anxiety. So as you keep on aging and you keep on having more stressful events, there is a possibility that this anxiety just increases and it becomes bigger than what it was. And the loops of these anxieties of this anxiety feeling is, it's very coily, it's very it's very resistant. It almost feels very stubborn. It feels like you don't really have a control of this. So even after years of self love practices, even after years of working with therapists and counselors, there is still a little bit of anxiety that's still there. With all of this awareness, I would say that it does not really resolve the anxiety fully. What it really does is all of this awareness kind of works like a harness. When you're doing bungee jumping or something like that, you jump with a harness, right? And that harness actually kicks in just before you actually hit the floor. Before you actually hit the floor, it comes in, right? So what happens is this awareness, I don't know how it works with everyone else, but with me, this awareness kind of kicks in even when I'm anxious. It kicks in to kind of to pull me back from doing something stupid. So it does not, like, like if I'm feeling anxious right now, it's not going to be like, oh, but I have learned so much about anxiety, I cannot be anxious. It doesn't work like that. If I'm anxious, I will probably do something a little bit after out of that anxiety, and then the harness of awareness.
Awareness.
Look, you can put yourself on mute so the voice from your side does not come in. So what happens is, like the awareness kind of works like a harness for me. It does not mean, like I said, that I will not do something stupid out of anxiety. I will probably still do, but the extent at which I would go will not be there, because it just pulls me back and just wakes me up and tells me, oh, am I going on that loop again? Maybe I should stop, maybe I should relax, maybe I should breathe in, maybe I should just disconnect from everything right now and just calm down. What I'm trying to emphasize on here is that if you do feel anxious, if you do feel that you are in awareness that you are being anxious, don't be hard on yourself, because that's not going to help you. Even that awareness sometimes is not really going to help you. So just don't start criticizing yourself, because then you will go into another loop of it. The other thing I want to talk about is anxiety does not just come on its own. What also happens is anything that kind of gives you relief from this anxiety becomes habit forming. So it either leads to something called as OCD, that is obsessive compulsive disorders, or it leads to something called as addiction. The funny thing to me is that both of these terms actually mean the same thing, but however they get used differently. So for example, if someone has got hooked on to prayer beads or washing hands or keeping their house clean, they don't say I'm addicted to it, they say I have a compulsive disorder to doing this. However, if someone gets addicted to substance abuse or gets addicted to porn, they don't say that I have an obsessive compulsive disorder of substance abuse, they say I'm addicted. So it's just a matter of how we look at things. Um, if uh, if if it's considered something that's not at all socially accepted, then we prefer to call it addiction. And if it is something that makes your house look neat and tidy, we call it compulsive disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder. And yes, I feel that is really twisted, uh, because actually, whether it is OCD or whether it is addiction, both of these things have come into play, and they have come into purpose to calm down the anxiety, to calm down the nervousness, to calm down that feeling of being out of control. um, According to classical conditioning, Pavlov's theory, that the dog started salivating even if just the bell rang. So even if there was no food coming in, just the sound of the bell would make the dog salivate, right? So similarly, when you're getting anxious, you may not really be fully aware what is it that is making you anxious. Sometimes you know, sometimes you don't know. And it is these triggers. Maybe it's the sound of something, maybe it's a smell of something, maybe it's a memory of something that has actually ticked off the anxiety. So after a given point in time, what happens is, even even if that full blown anxiety attack hasn't happened, you have already reached out to your fix, whether it is a cigarette, whether it is a drink, whether it is your prayer. You have already reached out to your fix, whatever it is. So it's very important to identify what your what is it that you're addicted to, or what is it that you're compulsively doing. Because sometimes these things, your addictions and your compulsive disorders, might actually give you a good look into what is it that's really making you anxious. Because once you're able to actually pinpoint your triggers of anxiety or the causes of it, you're automatically going to be able to work on your OCD and addiction and many other things. The other thing that I want to share is, you can be depressive anxious and you can be manic anxious. So if you're into if you're feeling depressive and anxious, then you will be engaging in a lot of self talk. So there will be a lot of silence, but there will be a lot of talking, because you will be constantly talking to yourself. Your thoughts will have this pattern which will just go on in loops about how things have not happened earlier, how you think it's going to go wrong again, how you need to be in control, how you are blaming yourself constantly. Oh, I let this happen. Maybe I should have been watchful. I'm responsible for this. And you can keep on going on in this loop of, constantly talking to yourself. And that is when you're in a little bit of a depressive kind of an anxiety, where there is a lot of self talk. The other type of anxiety would be a manic kind of an anxiety, wherein there is not so much of a self talk, but there is this constant need of doing something. You will either start cleaning, you will start, physically doing something like, it can even be self harm, it can also be an addictive behavior, but you will be more into action, less of, mind chatter. There will be a lot more of action. uh, so yeah, so these are like the few things that I wanted to share. And what has helped me over a period of time, of course, the awareness really works as a harness, like I mentioned earlier. But there are exercises that help me to calm down the nervousness, to take off the stress, to take off the edge. One of them is tapping, EFT tapping, which a lot of speakers have shared with you. Trust me guys, that is a very very useful trick. It really really helps. And besides EFT, the other thing that I have learned through Anu, and I have practiced, is while I'm doing EFT, I'm constantly breathing, and I'm telling myself that wherever I am right now, either I'm in my past that is making me anxious, or I'm in my future that is making me anxious. Like, I have gone too far. Like, I remember when I was pregnant, and I was, what, about 2.5, 3 months pregnant. And in my head, I was so anxious that I had actually reached Amy being 13 years old. Amy did not even have a name then, but I already had worries for her when she's 13. So I just realized that, I can pass on this anxiety to her and I don't have to. So I immediately started tapping, and that exercise has stuck to me till date, and I share it with my clients as well. I just start tapping on my EFT points, and I just start telling myself, I don't need to be wherever I am. Really right now need to be in this room, need to come back into this room. I imagine that I'm opening the door of the room. I imagine myself walking into the room. I see myself as to what I'm wearing. I see myself sitting in the seat that I'm sitting. I slowly open my eyes and just come into the reality. So the other thing about anxiety is, when you have a lot of it, you're not being in the moment. You're not being in your presence, in your present time. And just tuning into your present time will also help you deal with your anxiety better, because you know that this is the reality. This is where I am. This is as much as I can do right now. And that's about it. If you guys have any questions or anything that you would like to work on, or anything that you would like to share, you can start. Thank you, Nutan. So is there anything that you feel always causes anxiety? It can also be food, guys. Food can also cause anxiety because these are also triggers. um, you know so if there is anything that you feel panicky about, if you feel like your hands go cold every time this happens, या शाम होते ही मेरी नींद उड़ जाती है, I just keep thinking and thinking, and I'm in a loop of thoughts. If any one of you guys would like to talk about it, share with it, maybe we can, help you find the reason behind it and work on it.
Doreen, I can resonate with that. This is Nutan here.
Okay, Newton.
Okay, so I can actually I understand that. Sham hote hi, I get anxious till the date. I know the reason behind it. Still, but still that thing is there. That I have to reach home as soon as possible. Because in my childhood I used to stay in a village, and even today it's very rare resources are there available to reach home. So I used to get so scared. जैसे सूरज ढलने लगता है,
Huh.
I get start anxious and panic. I have to leave wherever I am.
Okay. So, you are aware of what is it that is making you feel the panic or the anxiety?
Yes, the reason, because in my childhood they
Huh.
were like race resources to reach home. So
Yeah.
even now I stay at very very good place where I can reach at any point of time in night as
Okay.
well, and I'm
Okay.
safe.
But
But
still,
still,
you haven't
yes,
forgotten feeling that anxiety. Yeah.
yes.
Absolutely.
So
There
that
is
is one of
Vasvi
the
who's raised her hand up. And others who need to ask questions, please raise your hands up, please. Thank you. Not on your screen, but on the Zoom call. So, Vasvi, please unmute yourself and ask what you need to. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So this is Vasvi. I don't exactly have a question, but I resonated with something very deeply that you mentioned in your talk about the lips, the ulcers in your lips, and how they are self-harming.
Yeah.
And actually, that is a habit I've had since I was 4 years old of
Okay.
scratching the edges of my thumbs until they bleed.
Okay.
And I never understood that that was self-harm. I always thought, and I would keep itching it, and I couldn't sleep as well. So I would do it
Okay.
all night from a very young age. And I just
Yeah.
remember it's almost like I couldn't sleep, and I just had to keep going and going and going.
Yeah.
And it's something that I've been doing till date. It's not as bad, but it's something that
Okay.
I've been doing till date. The urge
Okay.
has reduced, but it's still there.
Okay. So,
Yes.
something that might probably help you, Basfi, is as a child, I used to do that because I used to feel that separation anxiety. That,
Okay.
I need my mom to be in bed with me, or I need, just need someone to cling on
Mm.
to and sleep. So that is how it started, because after a point in time I couldn't wait. I just couldn't take the waiting anymore, like I just couldn't,
Okay.
like, uh, just stay awake anymore. So I needed a distraction. And
Mm.
the anxiety would now take a physical, what you say, it would manifest itself physically. It's not in the head anymore. Now it
Mm.
starts getting, into action. So what you could probably do is, you can speak to Anu, and you can talk to her about this, and
Yeah.
sort it out, because it will also tell you a lot about yourself. So all of these
Okay.
self harm activities really just tell you so much more about yourself.
Thank you so much. Actually, I relate. Maybe it could be with separation anxiety because till a relatively uh, older age, I would sleep with my parents.
Yeah.
So maybe in their bed. So maybe that explains it. It was like a change for me whenever I had to sleep alone.
Yeah.
Might also. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So, Ashish has the next question, or he's raised his hand up. Ashish.
Hi, Doreen. First of
Hi.
all, the session was amazing.
Thank
I
you.
joined a little bit late, but I have a question like, how
Yeah.
can I stop self-talking?
So it depends
Because,
what is it that you're saying. Yeah, tell me.
yeah, because nowadays I have lots of time just because of this lockdown. So I always like start talking about myself with me, ki why I'm doing
Okay.
this, is it right, or what's going wrong, anything, whatever comes to mind, start talking with myself. So how can I
Okay.
stop that?
Well, to be very honest, nobody stops self-talking. There's nothing wrong with self-talking. It's just that what is the tonality that you're talking to yourself in? Right?
Okay.
So what is it that you're really saying to yourself? Are you constantly trying to talk yourself and tell yourself कि oh ये तो बहुत गलत हुआ, ये वापस होने नहीं दूंगा? Is if it's a disturbing memory that you're constantly going back to and constantly evaluating it, devaluing yourself, and then that is something that needs to be worked on. And the best thing is doing the exercise at that time really helps, because you will just stop the mind chatter. You can use so many exercises that we have learned in these last 60 days to just come back to reality, because most of these mind chatter which goes about the past or goes too much about the future is just waste of time.
Okay.
So just calm yourself down. Do not let yourself get triggered by the past, and just do a little bit of breathing exercise. Come back to you in your room, come back, because sometimes you will also realize yaar bahut zyada time chala gaya, itne time mein I could have done so much work. So it
Yes,
also
right,
just
right.
steals so much of time. Like, the other thing I didn't mention is that I used to actually have imaginary friends, because I had, I mean, itna self talk ho gaya tha ki now I had to create people to talk to. And it was, I think, till I was 16, 17, I used to have so many imaginary friends. After like 2, 3 hours, I realized that, dude, I have exams coming up and I have wasted so much of time just talking to imaginary people, because I was so stressed out about my exam that I needed I need to now distract myself from the exam stress. And I couldn't take the anxiety anymore. So I started self entertaining, I started self talk. So it kind of just you end up wasting so much of your time. So just get yourself back into the room, back into the moment, and choose what is it that you want to focus on, and take it from there.
Okay. Thank you.
I hope
Thank you,
that helps.
Rodan. Yes, definitely.
Vandana, you have a question?
Can I speak now?
Of course, go ahead.
See, there are people with, really low self-esteem, and then facing a lot of social anxiety. They do not want to mix around, and then they want that others should come and talk to me, and always judging themselves, and it creates a lot of tension in their minds. अगर उन्हें कहीं कुछ भी जाने को बोलो या पार्टी में जाने को बोलो, बच्चों के साथ ऐसा होता है. So how does one handle that?
So, Vandana, I will tell you that that is not something that people don't feel. A lot of people feel it. Even if they feel confident about themselves, they still have these social anxiety issues or public speaking issues. However, in this case, the anxiety ka underlying jo reason hai, which is lack of self confidence, the constant beating themselves up and not feeling good enough, that is something that needs to be addressed. Because like I mentioned, anxiety is something that will people have reasons for it, and you cannot tell them that these reasons are not good enough reasons, because they're not talking about a UFO invading
No,
their
no, they are
planet,
very
right?
powerful reasons.
Yeah, so they are very powerful reasons. So you have to
Hmm.
validate those reasons, you have to help them work on those reasons, and only then they will be able to actually walk out of their social anxiety. And social anxiety, like you rightly mentioned, is a lot to do with lack of confidence and really not feeling good about yourself.
Yeah, lack of
So
self-worth,
yeah,
basically.
yeah. So once they work on it, they will feel equal to others. They
No,
will not feel like they need to hide.
how does one help them to work on it?
So first of all, they have to be open to it. If they are open to it, their half the therapy is done over there. So if they are not open to it, you cannot force them to take help. Also, because a lot of these people have a lot of other underlying issues going on. So they really, if you feel that they are really in a very bad state, or in a very higher case of social anxiety, that they're avoiding meeting people, they're avoiding important tasks, then there is definitely deep-seated depression also over there. And those things need to be addressed first, because anxiety does not always come on its own. Along with anxiety, there will be a lot of other psychological issues as well.
But if they do not, suppose they are my own children and if they do
Hmm.
not agree to seek help and live in
How old
denial.
are they? How old are they?
I've got a 20-year-old who is
Okay.
who himself knows that he undergoes the bouts of depression and anxiety,
Okay.
and he is
Okay.
taking medication.
Okay.
But then
So,
denial बहुत है.
okay. So I will tell you very
Sometimes he gets
honestly.
confident, sometimes he gets low.
Yeah.
Weight issues are there, and since he knows the weight issue is there, but he is not ready to do anything about his weight. He
Okay.
will do that anxiety eating,
Huh.
but he will
Got
not
it.
exercise. If
Got
you
it.
tell him, then he gets angry at me, that why are you always, you keep your counselor's chair somewhere else and to others, not to me.
Okay. Okay.
So I can't even tell him that, so I've kept
Yeah.
quiet.
Yeah. See, it would not be right for me to say this, but I can say that I totally understand where he's coming from, because I have had bouts of depression that have been so bad, that I have not, even taken the wise. I have not even been able to take wise decisions. So I'll explain this to you with the help of a small example. For example, if I'm very, very depressed right now, extremely depressed right now, and if my friend calls me, my first option is I will not answer the call because I'm so depressed. Second, even if I do answer the call, my friend is talking about me going to a party, I will not go to the party because I am feeling depressed and I do not want to connect with anyone. So if I'm depressed, all my decisions will also be depressive. नहीं मुझे कहीं नहीं जाना, मैं इधर ही खुश हूँ. I will be like that. So the first thing, if you want someone to actually take an action and come out of their depression or come out of their state, they actually have to come out of their depression to make those changes. And that is something that will come from no amount of you talking or making them realize. Will they realize? They will realize the day they realize.
That is the challenge, because the weight is really soaring and it is becoming a medical emergency.
Okay, in that case, then may I ask Anu to help you with this? Anu,
Yeah,
can
I
you?
will ask Anu. Anu knows about it a
So
little.
we need to work. We need to work on. There could be feeling of isolation. There could be feeling of that. There could be something really small, but in our head, even small things can become big. So
See, Manu,
we'll sit
Anu,
down.
that we are in that transferable job. So
Yeah,
every time we get posted out, so he has this feeling that nobody loves him. He will
exactly.
never find a girlfriend. He will not ever get that kind of love which people get. So he
Thank you,
always
Vandana.
speaks like
So
that only.
the fattiness comes from two things. One is feeling extremely uh, abandoned, and the other one is feeling not good enough. Now these two,
What
when they
is
club
yeah,
together,
second one? What did you say? Second one?
not feeling good enough. Now I want
Yeah,
you to
yeah,
get
both
this
are
very,
there. Both are
both are
there.
there. What we'll do,
Yes.
Vandana, is we'll have a chat after this program,
Okay, okay. Yes, Anu.
and
Yes.
we'll look at it how to
Yes,
handle.
yes, Anu.
Yeah.
Certainly. I trust you so much. You know that.
Thank you so much, Vandana, and I
Thank
trust
you
you.
so
You're
much.
an amazing therapist yourself, but I understand what happens with the family
See,
members.
as a mother, I don't want to get into the counselor and therapist chair at all, Anu.
No, you shouldn't.
So I am talking to you as a normal person, because this is one issue which not only my child faces. I have other people's children who I'm counseling. So if I can help others also by learning something.
I really acknowledge you that you are bold enough to say, hey, you know what, I'm a counselor and I yet have a problem. And that's the place that is the actual authentic place. We all are counselors and we can get stuck in places because we weren't there. It's not our job to fix other people. It's their karma also. They chose us in their life. Now we are going up in our awareness with whatever, and yet these are the people who are going to keep you grounded. They are our real teachers actually at some point. So talk to me after the program,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
we'll see how I
certainly,
can
Anu,
sort out.
certainly.
Thank you so
I'll
much for that question.
thank you
David,
so
would
much.
you like
Thank
to
you so much.
conclude this program before we allow Roop to come in?
Yes, I would like to conclude with saying the same thing that I've mentioned earlier. If there are addictions, if there are OCDs, it could also be very casual things. Look into it, and you will actually find the reason for your fears and your anxiety. And once you're able to take care of that, life genuinely gets a lot easier.
So let me also give you one thing that I would like to mention. Beautifully presented. She has one thing about Doreen. She's very authentic. She's what she is outside inside. She doesn't have a mask and doesn't have a filter there. So, which is the best thing about her. Uh, Sometimes even work can be addiction. You can use your work to run away from many things. You can use your work to excel in your work, but your work may be a way of running away from many, many things. See between the couple who is running away. See between the couples who is outside the house more, and then find out what's really happening. Maybe on the look of it, it looks really good. Look into the kids and see who is the kid who is most disconnected. That's also a way of running away. So running away or anxiety, as Doreen picked up, or presenting of addictions are, and what are good addictions and bad addictions are something how we perceive. Basically, addictions are addictions, but we are not looking and categorizing some things as addictions, but we are categorizing alcohol as addiction. But if somebody is working like an alcoholic, that's equally a wrong thing to do. So just wanted to bring that up. Anything, Doreen, you want to say before we end this session?
No, no, no. That
Guys,
was
could
it.
you
You
please go
summarized
on
it.
the chat and put fatafat? Could you go on the chats and put down how you felt the session to be, so that we can save on some time and we'll read those chats up later? Could you please put your acknowledgements on the chat right now? Thank you so much. So we go now to the next